Welcome to Alternate Endings.
Half audiobook.
Half podcast.
Full apocalypse.
New episodes every Monday.
Start your week considering how everything could come to an end.
This short story is titled Zenith and was written and narrated by our very own Tyler Chrisley.
Attention, LAN competitors. Welcome. I know those dreary rooms you currently reside in must be so very confusing, and yet all too familiar. I promise, as this experience commences into full swing, you'll be flooded with memories of an event that occurred 10,000 years ago. For some of you, those memories will extend hundreds of thousands of years, potentially millions. But yes, to explain your current situation, a blessing if I must say. A ticket to be won and cherished for how long you might be wondering? Well, if you guessed 10,000 years, then ding ding ding, spot on. You are getting accustomed to that newfound knowledge. If you haven't noticed those smarts yet, that's more than okay. You're overwhelmed and scared. It's a lot to take in such a short amount of time. Hell, our last winners never fully got used to it. I'm looking at you, humans. Oh my, I'm only kidding. Now, to finally explain what I've so gracefully tiptoed around. Yes, this is a competition in the simplest of terms. We have selected you based on what we call food chains, the apex of your ecosystem or planetary domain. Congrats on reaching that point for the first time or successfully maintaining your place near the top. But now, it is time to let the battle determine who is to take their place at the tippy top of intelligence. The absolute superior species, king and queen of the planet all of you call... sorry about this. How embarrassing. Let me find you in our list. Yes, Earth. The kings and queens of Earth. What we have done, and yes, there is a we, is put all of you on a level playing ground. Elevated that basic stream of consciousness that allowed you to merely eat, sleep, and survive, and put you all on the level for which you are fighting for. Humans, our winners 10,000 years ago, will notice no difference, save for a few skills we collected as being average to above. I assure you, there is no difference in the acuity given to each of your carefully selected pairs or groups. Whichever we deemed as necessary for your given success, and based upon the success you've achieved in the past. The floor has been raised, and stakes set. This tournament, if you will, shall take place over 24 hours, so work quickly. It's up to the ingenuity of use, and for some of you, natural-born talent and size. The time is now. Those you face today are the potential champions of the land. As we prepare to open the doors of your enclosures, we remind you that the strong survive and the smart conquer. May finally welcome all of you to Zenith. And just like that, our doors open to reveal the most complex landscape I could possibly imagine. It's simultaneously hot and cold, perfectly designed to make sure any of us can win and do so anywhere. There likely won't be much hide and seek to start. We need to find our bearings and make a plan, I said to my male counterpart in front of me. I've still yet to see him since the room was so dark and my eyes didn't have any time to adjust before the doors were open. Without him turning around, I hear his loud, gruff voice, as if he were speaking in my ear. How many of us are there? Just us two, or are there more?
Just us two.
Welp, we've obviously done well, but they must also consider us strong. Let's not get wound up in that. Gotta stay level-headed and play it smart. There's a reason she said strong survive and smart conquer. We can be both.
He is so confident in how he speaks, it nearly seems like he has been here before. I know it is physically impossible, but whoever or whatever spoke to us at the beginning made it clear that memories would come back to us. Not sure how that works, but it seems like he's ahead of the curve. As he searches the land surrounding our brief enclosure, I can't help but notice the details of my companion selected. He's not much taller than I am, but I can sense the strength behind his weight. As he turns around to speak to me again, I notice the scars under his coat. Dark skin torn apart, and left to heal on its own. The type of damage done that hides your true age, whether for better or worse. I don't think my fighting skills would come anywhere near as close to his beforehand, but I hope with whatever skills they accounted for, I can hold my own.
What's your name?
He bellowed in a way that made me feel like a weight to be carried rather than a useful partner. I'm Miyuki, and I get the necessity of briefness, but we need to work together. Who are you? All right, Yuki. My name is Tulok, and I'll admit I planned on going at this alone, but I can't shake the feeling that I need you too. I say we go straight forward and be the aggressor of this game. Plan out attacks based on the opposition we run into each time. I wish I had more time to create a calculated response and game plan, but I think he has the right idea. Tulok, I agree, but let's stick to the outside of the arena to start. I imagine all the other species were stored in rooms just like ours, on the outside with a clear path leading forward. But if we move fast enough, we can catch others before they have time to figure out their victory scheme. Yuki, my friend, I knew I needed you. Let's go. As I watched Tulok turn to his left and carve a path through the dense forest, some of the surroundings started to become familiar. Snow on the ground, but warm to the touch. Enormous trees encased the entrance for an illusion of protection needed to ease our minds into conflict. Images of animals I could never name flash in my mind for a brief moment and disappear. This must be the beginning of the memories we were told to expect. We're at least 1,000 meters from Odor. Let's establish some sort of tactic for size and speed of whoever we come against. Good idea, Uki. We definitely won't be the strongest, but we can hold our own against the best of them. I keep having images and names of animals flash in my head. Do you think this is memories coming back from our ancestors in this arena, or are these the beasts we must currently conquer? I hadn't even thought about it that way. My first thought led me to believe they were from previous encounters, but the second idea seems far more likely. Some sort of way to know who we must fight at minimum? Most of these animals I haven't seen before, but I also have never been outside of northern Canada. I assume our lifestyles beforehand must have been similar, seeing as I'm from the same area. We've been chosen together on purpose, Yuki. We have to win this. I don't know why, but I know we can. Here he comes, with such reassuring confidence again. The ones in charge knew what they were doing. I have no doubt about that. I agree entirely. To do so, we need a plan. What happens if they are larger than us? My instincts tell me to test for speed in this case. We need to find how we outclass them in some way, and use it to our advantage. See, you know what to do. Stop stressing and we'll play it by ear. We need to find them first. What do you see, hear, smell now? I take the moment to collect my thoughts and take a deep breath. Let the sensations guide our next step. I know he wants to play it all out on a whim, but that won't work every time. Just like that, I hear a rustle in the tree, to my right, and then to my left. I open my eyes to see Tulok has already assumed a defensive position and is ready for our first fight. Before I can say anything, a small cat-like creature is running towards me at full speed. I know this creature. The tufts of black hair on top of pointed ears and a bearded face, it's a lynx. And based on its small stature, I'm assuming there are many more of them to make this a fair fight. I bat it away with a single strike, and it rolls to a stop. I turn and see at least 10 more have pounced on or surrounded Tulok. It was a suicide mission. Distract, then attack. Tulok, back up towards me. I roar in an attempt to diminish the distance between us faster. He stumbles backwards and falls. I hear the bones of several lynx shatter, each too slow to avoid his descent. While these animals are nimble, they pose minimal threat to our size. They stand a foot off the ground and are a fraction of our weight. As I reach Tulok, I manage to grab a hold of 2 lynx and bring them under my core as I smash them to the ground. He promptly regains his footing and searches for more. Quick thinking, Tulok says as he lifts another over his head and heaves it to the ground. They aren't nearly as strong to have taken us on. Poor planning on their part. The element of surprise was nowhere near enough. The few remaining lynx scurry off into the dense woods before we can grab a hold of them. Leftovers for the lucky animal to find them next. Tulok, don't let this go to your head now. That was much easier than I envisioned most others to be. Oh, don't worry. I hadn't. They got a good biding. He turns around to show me yet another wound added to the mosaic already painted into his chest. I'll be fine. Just fine. I promise, this is nothing. Honestly, the best warm-up I could have hoped for. He grinned, as if this moment finally woke him up from months of monotony, if you say so. We just need to be more careful. We fell right into their plan. Just thankfully we were strong enough that it didn't matter. Helps that I've seen them countless times before on hunting trips, and I knew exactly what to expect. See? A perfect way to start this party off. His tone had changed drastically since our initial steps into the strange world. He started so cold and vicious, and now it's turning into a game. I don't know if I should stop the course he's on or stoke those flames. Whatever keeps him motivated and ready, I guess. Alright, we technically won this one, but some of them got away. Gotta be more careful about it. He smiles at me with that same grin and touches my shoulder. Trust me, we got this. Where to next, boss? I give him the side eye and scan trees ahead. I doubt anyone is still biding their time by their entrances. I say we move inwards and see how the landscape changes. For all we know, there could be something better suited for our success in another area. That was exactly my thoughts too. Even if they are still there, we only have 24 hours in here. In order to win, gotta make good use of that. Let's go this way. Once again, he barges forward without any thought other than seek and destroy. The tenacity needed to become a winner. Although it's barely been an hour since we've entered this place, I haven't stopped thinking about wanting nothing more than to retain this knowledge. It would be devastating to lose. Tulak has the strength to make it so, and I'll guide him. Regardless of his overzealous nature, he's making the steps forward that I would likely make after thinking about it for too long. It makes sense that he's the one they put me with. At first, I thought, why me? But after these brief moments with Tulak, I know he needs me just as much as I need him. Hey, Yuki. The silence interrupted by his voice startled me, bringing me back to the current predicament we face. This is basically just a dialed-in, short-term survival of the fittest, isn't it? You know, that sounds right. The voice we heard at the beginning was talking about maintaining our position near the top of the food chain, or possibly an ascent to it. I wonder if deep down we remember this happening, even when we were back in the real world. Can you think of any animals you really hate? Oh, far too many. I doubt all of them are here, though. They gotta be the best of the best, basically. Right? I mean, yeah, but what if part of the reason we hate some of those animals is because of what has happened in here? Could be a stretch, but who knows? We're only going to remember more as time goes on in here, right? Yeah, that would make sense to me. Just gotta wait and see, I guess. Hopefully sooner rather than... Wait. Shh. You see that through those trees to the right? It opens up and something's going on. Come on. As we creep closer to the commotion that hides beyond the bark wall, we hear a loud crack, followed by a moaning thud. When I reach the end of the woods, I see a very large primate my mind tells me is a gorilla, sprawled out in a way only death could find comfortable. Wound tightly with lethal precision, an anaconda struggles to free itself from the weight of its foe. Without my mind's permission, my body hurtles towards the two. If I can reach the snake before it escapes its trap, I can guarantee another small victory. I feel Tulak close behind, which only confirms my decision to cross another competitor off the list. With 5 feet between myself and the snake, I take a leap into the air in an attempt to crush another opponent. I make contact with his head and drive my weight towards the ground. Whatever knowledge had entered that animal's mind definitely just exited it. I land squarely on top of the snake and gorilla and prepare myself for another attack. I swing my head around and focus acutely on the surrounding area. Tulak is now to my back, and I can focus my attention on looking for other animals that should be with this unlikely tandem. Tulak, do you see them? Not even a sign. This fight could have started elsewhere in the jungle behind us, and we just finished it. Well, you finished it, but we gotta keep going. This open land feels more like home, but we do not blend in here. I bend over the two lifeless creatures and make sure neither one of them will make a return. The confirmation of 2 more species eliminated relaxes me. Phew. All right, smart guy. Taking a page from me, I can tell. We have a second to figure out the next step at least. Come on, we can take a step back into the trees for a second, but there is no doubt we don't win this. I'm not sure where this sudden burst of confidence is coming from, but it feels nice, like the robust feeling had made its way from Tulak to myself during my attack. Ooh, you're sounding like me, Yuki. I'm flattered, and it suits you, smartass. But please, rein it in and be that voice of reason. There's a reason we've done well this far. Hey, it's like you said. All it did was wake me up from that dull hibernation I felt inside. Can't say mine was that extreme. Just focus it. Where should we go next? Stick to the tree line and wrap around the sand? No, I actually think we should go through it this time. I know we don't disappear in the sand like we used to back home, but we can avoid sneak attacks at the least. We got lucky the lynx weren't strong enough to finish us off. If it had been a leopard or tiger, I don't think it would have panned out the same way. Ah, good, you're still in there. All right, you take the lead this time and I'll watch that rear. We'll avoid surprises, but I'd rather not take any chances out in the open. With certainty renewed in my team's dynamics, I scan the desert leading us to nowhere. Let's find water. I'd bet the breeds more comfortable there have already duked it out. I wouldn't mind finishing off the scraps again for the rest of this day. A few hours in the desert and I still don't see an end. The time and complexity put into all these environments is stunning. Even though I see the heat rising from the ground in a haze thick enough to touch it, it doesn't feel like it. Even though my body is built for the cold, the dry oven this area would normally be has no effect. The power these beings who brought us in here possess is nonsensical. The manifestation of a god who claims to be not alone. What does this mean for us on Earth? Is there truly a celestial being with all-knowing power, or are we the science experiment of a greater species on some unknown planet? I figure we'll never know, seeing as our 24 hours in this masterpiece will never lead to answers. There's no time to investigate. Hey, Tulok.
Yeah?
I can tell I interrupted his own inner monologue by the softness in his tone. Have you seen anything? Corpses even? Besides the ones you contributed? I've only seen a couple cat and dog-looking animals and snakes. Probably a good thing they took each other out. I did not want to have to deal with anything poisonous. Yeah, I'm not sure what we would have done there. But still, don't you think we would have seen more by now?
I mean, maybe most of them stuck to the edges like we initially planned. This conscious knowledge isn't just ours in here, so they could have planned out similarly.
True. I just don't see it being possible that so many are still alive. As the statement barely leaves my mouth, an intercom clicks on and rings throughout the arena. Oh geez, competitors, you've done so well. I forgot to mention that we would give you slight updates throughout your journey today. We know that no one is fighting currently, so stay planted. No need in saying how many species we started with, seeing as a majority here have met their poor demise. A moment of silence, please. Welp, that's how it goes, right? Whew. I'm just plain proud. Our final 8 species remain, and this is where it gets interesting. You've probably noticed how sparse your opponents are now, and that's just dreary, doldrum, boring. So now we close this jewel of a gym you have all enjoyed so dearly. What fun. You'll notice that, boom, you are all back in your cozy rooms while we sort out what's next. The real tournament follows shortly. We've only seen a glimpse of each of your true potentials. Let those claws out. Dig deep and roar like never before. We will crown a winner. What the hell? Real tournament? What does that even mean?
Yuki, I think they're about to put species against species. No more hiding or sneak attacks. Something that makes sure it gets done in the 24 hours they've given us. And you know what? I think we've been here before. The only reason I know is because I clearly picture white walls and bright lights encasing a large room. The only thing allowed is a single tool, but only if you made it during the initial round. Of course, I remember this now.
Don't worry about tools. We wouldn't have used one anyway.
Yeah, but they will.
Tulak points to the images that have been projected onto our enclosure wall. 7 unique animals all fighting for the same prize. I ingest every image carefully to see if any memories are triggered and what information I can gather before we are paired off and the fight begins. Let's see. Panthera tigris and Acinonyx jubatus are probably the most similar.
Yes, we get you're smart, but please, just say common names.
Fine. The tiger and cheetah both made it here. Strong and quick, which, if we are in a smaller room, will help us. Next to are the brown bear and, oh dang, look, the gorilla. One must have made it alone.
Hey, good on our cousin making it too. I really would rather not go against them first.
Then, it's saltwater crocodile, honey badger, us, and humans. The mention of their name deluges my thoughts. In an instant, I remember why I've hated them for so long. Humans made it back to the final 8, huh? This time, we'll be different.
Wait, so you remember too?
Tulak says as he closes the gap between us. It just crashed into me like a wave. 10,000 years ago, it came down to humans and our polar bear ancestors. Tulak chuckles.
Damn, no wonder I kept that innate desire to hunt them down. So close last time, and those bastards did it. I mean, look at them. They're so scrawny compared to most of the remaining 8. Tools they make really play a huge part. Before I have a chance to respond, the pictures on the wall diminish to just 1. Looks like they chose the Crocs for us first, Yuki. Think we can manage?
No doubt in my mind, Tulak. His eyes focus into mine, and we nod in unison as a sign of respect for the other's abilities. We haven't had to face many animals so far. but this would be a demanding challenge regardless. Hiya friends, I'm back. As you've probably noticed, we selected your first opponent. You've all been classed based on your kills from the day. The number 1 seed will face off against the 8 seed, and so forth. Classic tourney rules. You have a few options for how this can go down. 3 different environments to choose from: jungle, desert, or plain old white box. Each species will fight with however many remained at the end of the primary portion of today. If you are the last of your kind, then that's it. Those of you with larger groups may have a better shot, but don't let that go to your little head. You won't believe what we've seen happen. Each round will occur simultaneously in order to squeeze this all into those slim hours we have left. The battle commences once both sides have agreed upon an environment. Be careful though. After 2 failed attempts to decide together, the environment will be chosen at random. Ooh, the anticipation. Alright now, my wee lambs, let's get jiggy with it. The 3 options whoever just gave to us appear on the wall that previously held our ancient-looking competitor. Well, we know what they're gonna pick. No way they'll decide on anything besides the jungle. Literally just took the words from my mouth. Tulak sighs as he reads the description under each photograph. Jungle. A densely forested zone containing an active water source through its center. At least there is some land. One of us has to draw them towards the riverbed and trap them on land. It's our best bet. We'll be slower in the water, but at least we can see them. I just hope there aren't very many of them left. Let's pick jungle. Better to have an idea of what we are going into rather than take the chance of a surprise. Tulak presses the button below our selection and we are transported to a serene riverside. If it weren't for the impending bloodbath about to ensue, I would feel content here. Trees fence the sides of a clear water flowing with minimal speed, but that is short-lived as I make eye contact with the 5-meter beast on the opposing end of the riverbank. It wades into the river and disappears from sight. Looks like there's only one of them. That's a relief. I'm met by silence as I turn to see Tulak fixated on the water. No breaks in the water or any evidence of a monster can be seen. The smile framing its elongated mouth as it made its descent was a clear indicator that we had made an unwise choice. I'm going to stick my head in the water and try and spot him. Before I have a chance to warn against the horrible idea, the crocodile lurches from the water and grabs hold of Tulak's shoulder. The incredible strength of its jaw is wildly apparent as it pulls my 600-kilogram friend into the water. Tulak digs his claws into the face of our foe and tears flesh from bone, but the grip is unrelenting, digging deeper and deeper into the thick layer of blubber. I sprint to the edge of the river and dive headfirst toward the confusion in the water. The croc has dragged Tulak to the bottom of the waterbed and has started spinning furiously. Blood fills the water, clouding my path towards the onslaught. I make contact with both of them, which breaks Tulak free from the croc's clutches. His body rises to the surface as I follow quickly in an attempt to free us from the crocodile's lair. As soon as we reach the air awaiting us, I pull Tulak towards the bank. Yuki, don't. His shoulder has been separated completely and hangs by threads of muscle and tissue. I won't survive this. When it comes back up for me, I'll be ready. Take a breath, then follow in and finish the cuts I've made. You've got this. He smiles as he's torn from the land back towards the depths. With his remaining front claw free, he carves another hole into the predator's face. Tulak hunkers down and wraps the animal in his paws while I start towards them. A slim opening, but if I can make it before another death roll, then I'll have a chance to win, and save him at the same time. I grab onto the loosened patch of scales and rip towards my body. The tough skin doesn't break, and I bring myself closer towards his mouth. I narrowly avoid a chomp and retaliate with one of my own. Nowhere near the force that beast can generate, but the damage done by Tulak weakened its shield. A clean bite that is met with a gnarly crunch. The croc goes limp and floats to the river floor. I reach for Tulak as he sinks with our defeated opponent, but I am transported to the room before I can solidify a grip. Congratulations! 1 step closer to 10,000 years of dominance. I cry silently as our announcer annoyingly showers the Final Four with high praises. The fact that I didn't have a chance to try and save Tulak must have meant he had already perished. All I can hope for now is that all the other competitors suffered the same type of casualties I did. Your death won't be in vain, Tulak. I promise. I hear a ding from the prophetic wall that I assume will contain my next match. I'm instantly relieved to see the picture of a large silverback gorilla. I know it will still be a worthy adversary, but there can't be more than one. Not after the first and second rounds of today. Another ding signals the choice of landscapes, and I reach toward the jungle option again, before pausing centimeters away. I need to be smarter this time. I think my best bet is to pick the white box the rest of the time. That way, everyone is on similar playing ground, and if anything, my fur will camouflage best in there. I press the button. Uh-oh, that's not what they want. Give it another try. Shit. They must have chosen jungle. It was expected, but part of me was hoping they would feel the same way I do now. I'll try it again. The same error screen flashes on the wall, as well as a roulette wheel. The 3 options alternate on the tiles as a digital ball spins around. You've been assigned desert. Enjoy. Once again, my vision is blurred for a single second, and I am standing on sand. A mere meter from myself stands a badly wounded gorilla who immediately sits. I'm done, he says as he sinks further into the ground. I have lost my companion and just killed 3 cheetahs who took me to my brink. I can see you survived unscathed from the round before. Good work, and good luck in the next round. He lies down into the sand and sighs his last breath. No biting, scratching, or stomping, and I am teleported right back into my room. Oh, dear Yuki, that was quite fortunate for you. Unfortunately, we do not heal anyone between rounds, and he barely survived his last fight. What a wild ride it was. Good news for you, though. You've done it. To the final round. The humans and tigers are finishing up right now. Good luck. I stare blankly against the wall, and I wait for my final challenge to flash before my eyes. I count slowly and catch my breath in preparation for whomever I face. My mind races, despite my best efforts to count it into submission. The final fight that played out 10,000 years ago repeats in my mind. I'm ready for you. I will win. My final words into the room echo as I'm transported to a white box. Did I miss the image flash across the screen? Why didn't I get to choose? Welcome Yuki the polar bear and the 3 remaining humans to the final battle. Who would have thought we'd have a rematch so soon? The rules are no different than before. We just got to decide where the fight takes place. How fitting for it to be in the same white room as last time. Before we begin, I want to go over the whirlwind bound to take place immediately after. Humans, if you win and return to your throne, then life continues as it is. Everyone goes back to their daily lives as if this day never transpired. On the other hand, if the polar bear wins, then a disaster will fall upon humanity. You may remember learning about ice ages, volcanic eruptions, and meteors in the past. Yes, those were our doing. Crowning new champions comes with a price for the ones who came before. Along with reverting humanity's intelligence, they will be nearly wiped from the earth. Few remaining to start over from the beginning. Now, isn't that just how life works? Once again, we are so proud of you, of both of you. Good luck. You may start in 3, 2, 1.
Thanks all for listening. Check out the next episode where we discuss and review this story. We hope to see you there, as long as the world doesn't end before then.
We would like to thank Kevin MacLeod for his music found on incompetech.com.